Spartan Games is known for some of its very, very good line of miniatures, such as Dystopian Wars and Firestorm Armada. But they decided to come out with a license off the Halo series, and that's Halo Fleet Battles. If you like Star Wars Armada, you just might like this. So why don't we get down to the table and take a look. The base game comes with two fleets. First, the Covenant. As you can see, you get all this in the box. It comes unassembled, and as you can see, I've got mine partially painted, so they don't come painted. On the other side, we have the UNSC, and as you can see, you get quite a few models. Again, you have to put them together, and as you can see, they are partially painted and still need a little work. Now also that comes in the box is a very detailed core rule book, and it breaks down everything and does a wonderful job of explaining full color, and even gives you guides on how to paint and add to your fleets and point values to have campaigns with. It also comes with a very extensive campaign guide with a bunch of different missions, all pointed out and broken down so you can just get right onto the battlefield and start playing. It comes with a very detailed rule sheet, reference sheet, and as you can see, very, very good quality, as well as ship reference sheets, which is very important because it breaks down all the stats and the weapons and everything that you need to know, and is very handy to have on hand. And one for the Covenant as well as two commander cards, which if you decide to play, you can play with the commanders or without the commanders. It comes with a Covenant Supreme Commander and, of course, the UNSC Commander, and some really, really wonderful counters, high gloss, I mean, just really good quality. Everything about this is great quality. We'll start with that. But even though it has all these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful components, the main meat of the game is how does it play and is it enjoyable? So why don't we start by taking a look and going over some of the rules. I'm not going to cover everything, but I'm going to cover the very basic rules of this game. And let's take a look at Halo Fleet Battles, the Fall of the Reach. Now let's break down each ship. Now as you can see here, there is the word small. And that we're going to talk a little later when we go over the cards. Next is the movement, 10 inches, as you can see. Now, for the spaceships, they have to move at least half their movement each and every turn. And then we have the damage track. As they take damage, they go lower. Next is hangars for the little fighters. Underneath, there's the name, and then the build rating. As you can see, this is a build rating of 1, where if you had a bigger ship, over here you have a build rating of 2. Now, even though we're not going to use the order phase, which is the very first phase, I'm going to go over it a little bit, but not too much, because for this very short walkthrough, it just wouldn't make sense or be prudent to even add it in. But at the beginning of each turn, both players would roll dice. These are actually the command signals, which would give initiative. So for the Supreme Commander of the Covenant, as you can see, he has two initiative. And of course for our Marines here, we have 4, so he would actually get to go first. Now, as you can see, there's different sides to the dice. There's only 3 different sides. There's a defense dice and an attack dice. And what you would do is put these in order and how you want to use them. And this would be for your executive order, which would be the first thing. And as you can see, you have different abilities, and depending on what you roll, you would get certain different abilities that you would be able to use during your turn. So that's pretty much how these work. It's a lot more extensive, but we're not going to really go over it. I just wanted you guys to see this. and know that this is something that you can add into your fleets. But let's get to the real meat of the game. Now here we have these heavy-duty, very great quality reference cards for all the ships and the formations that you can put them in. And on the other side, as we turn it over, you can see we have the fighters, but we're not going to be covering the wing phase or the boarding phase because of how we've got this set up. But we are going to take a look at each ship. As you can see, here's our small ships that we were talking about a little earlier. And then on the other side here, we have our capital ships, which is considered large, and our cruiser ships, which are considered medium. Now, there's different, they break down all the things. So all those things on the card that you saw, movement of 6, damage track, which we were covering, and then it has hangars, boarding, craft rating, and security detail, which comes into some of the system loadouts. Now the system loadouts, they have all kinds of different abilities that can do. A hard burn, which is something that you can go an extra inch if you use that ability. Missile barrage, point defenses, things to help you out. Titanium armor, which is a very big help, especially gets a very high powered and overpowered covering force. And then of course you have a breakdown of your weapons. As you can see, your primary weapon is a light Mac, which has a range of 10 short range, and then anything over 10 up to 20 inches is long range. And then your secondary weapons. Now you can see where the firing arc is. It has a front firing arc and the back arcs and the side arcs, the port and the starboard, of course. And how many dice you roll. This is why you get so much dice in here, because you get to roll for this particular weapon 12 dice. Now, with that said, and talking about the arcs, it's really pretty neat when you look at the card here. So let's just take our medium ship here, and we're going to put him right here so we can see, and we can break this down a little bit. Here's your primary weapon arc. So it actually breaks it down so you can see that is on a 45-degree angle, so you'll be able to tell if it's within that particular arc. And then the port and the starboard for the secondary weapons, which is on an inside ring, and then the secondary weapon for the front arc. So everything is mapped out for you for each weapon. Your primary is always on the outside, and then your secondaries are in the inside. So very, very innovative design and very easy to follow once you understand some of the meat and potatoes of this game. Now also on the card is the point cost, so you can build your fleets in a different your fleets and your formations in different ways, and total things up and add things and take things out. So just a very, very well designed and put together here. So let's take a look at movement and a quick battle. So we're going to take a look at a quick turn here. So here's what happens. We go right to the movement phase. Okay. Now, remember when we were talking about the difference between small, medium, and large ships? Well, the movement is broken up into 3 phases. There's a turn phase, there's a move phase, and then another turn phase. Now, medium and large ships only get 1 turn. So, for instance, during the first turn phase, it can choose not to turn. Then it can move. And the thing with all ships, they have to move at least half their value. That's more or less to allow for the inertia of the actual of being out in space and moving. So everything moves at least half its movement, no matter what. And then it can make a turn, a 45-degree angle turn. Now, smaller ships, it's a lot different. You can turn, move, and then turn again, or turn this way if you wanted to. Or with a medium ship like we have, it can turn, then move, but it cannot turn again. So it only gets that 1 turn. So it can move, it can turn in the first turn phase or the last turn phase, where smaller ships can turn in both phases.